who needed government support rather than was giving so much money in taxes. I want to get rid of the tax code that we've got and make it really different. But Mitt, let me finish. No, let me finish, Mitt.
Time.
In all due respect, we're a better country than to punish children for what their parents did. We're a better country than that.
We got another question. We got one more question for...
I get a chance to just respond to that. We're not punishing children for what their parents did, and I respect the fact that you worked your way through college and it got you to where you are. That's wonderful. A lot of people in this country do tremendous things to get their education, but the question is, are we going to give taxpayer-funded benefits to kids that are here illegally and put them ahead of kids that are here legally? There's only so much money to go around.
No,
and we decide there's only so much money to go around. Let me finish, too.
Well, but let's just be factual.
You got 30 seconds. Your time's up.
There's only so much money. Are we going to say that kids that are here illegally are going to get a special deal? Are they going to get a deal better than other kids? Do they get benefits by virtue of coming here illegally? And the answer is no.
That was the difference.
Okay.
They had to earn it by their...
We've got another question from a YouTube watcher. Let's watch, please.
Good evening, candidates. This is Seekster from Arlington, Texas, and this question is for Ron Paul. I've met a lot of your supporters online, but I've noticed that a good number of them seem to buy into this conspiracy theory regarding the Council of Foreign Relations and some plan to make a North American union by merging the United States with Canada and Mexico. These supporters of yours seem to think that you also believe in this theory. So my question to you is, do you really believe in all this, or are people just putting words in your mouth?
90 seconds.
Well, it all depends on what you mean by all of this. The CFR exists, the Trilateral Commission exists, and it's a, quote, conspiracy of ideas. This is an ideological battle. Some people believe in globalism, others of us believe in national sovereignty. And there is a move on toward a North American Union, just like early on there was a move on for a European Union, and it eventually ended up. So we had NAFTA and moving toward a NAFTA highway. These are real things. It's not somebody made these up. It's not a conspiracy. They don't talk about it, and they might not admit about it, but there's been money spent on it. There was legislation passed in the Texas legislature unanimously to put a hold on it. They're planning on millions of acres taken by eminent domain for an international highway from Mexico to Canada, which is going to make the immigration problem that much worse. So it's not so much a secretive conspiracy. It's a contest between ideologies, whether we believe in our institutions here, our national sovereignty, our Constitution, or are we going to further move in the direction of international government, more UN? You know, this country goes to war under UN resolutions. I don't like big government in Washington. So I don't like this trend toward international government. We have a WTO that wants to control our drug industry, our nutritional products. So I'm against all that, but it's not so much as a sinister conspiracy. It's just knowledge is out there. If we look for it, you'll realize that our national sovereignty is under threat.
Congressman Paul, thank you. We've got a question, moving on to another topic, the economy, money. Next question.
My name is Sarah Lutterock. I'm 18 years old. I'm from Scottsdale, Pennsylvania, and I'm a student at Penn State University. Often, I've heard both politicians and voters express their concern with providing a better future for their children. A concern of my generation is the trillions of dollars of national debt and what kind of responsibility we will have for that in the future. My question for you all is, if elected, what measures will you take to tackle the national debt and control spending?
Senator McCain, have Republicans forgotten how to control spending?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We came to power in 1994 to change government, and government changed us. We let spending lurch completely out of control. We spent $3 million to study the DNA of bears in Montana. I don't know if that was a paternity issue or a criminal issue. We've presided over a great expansion of government, the latest being the S-chip, which is going to be paid for supposedly with $1 a pack increase in the tax on a pack of cigarettes. So we're going to help children with their health insurance and hope that they continue to smoke. So I have a record of fighting against wasteful spending. I have a clear record of winning. I saved the taxpayers $2 billion on a bogus Air Force Boeing tanker deal where people went to jail. I led in the Abramoff hearings in the obscure Indian Affairs Committee, for which people are still testifying and going to jail. As President of the United States, I'd take an old veto pin that Ronald Reagan gave me, and I'd veto every single pork barrel bill that comes across my desk. I'd make the authors famous, and we got to stop it, and stop it now. And I can do it, and I've done it, and I've got the record, and I know how Washington works, and I look forward to it.
Governor Romney, what would you do to control spending?
Well, the senator's absolutely right. Every bill that comes forward that's got pork in it and earmarks that are unnecessary, we got to veto them and send them back. And that's a lesson that's going to have to be done. But, you know, it's got to be broader than that. We're going to have to see fundamental change in the way Washington works. We're just not going to get out of the box thinking with inside the beltway politics. And we're going to have to fundamentally go at something like our entitlements and say we got to reform those. I took on a major issue, which was health care, found a way to get people health insurance without having to expand government, without having to raise taxes. We're going to have to go after entitlements. We're going to have to set a cap, as I have proposed, on all non-military discretionary spending and inflation less 1%. Anything above that, we veto it.
Mayor Giuliani?
I think you have to do across-the-board spending cuts the way Ronald Reagan did. 5-10% per civilian agency. Should be done right now, actually. President Bush should do it to strengthen the dollar. We should commit not to rehire half of the civilian employees that will retire in the next 10 years. That's 42% of the federal workforce will retire in the next 10 years. Don't rehire half of them. Use technology. One person doing the job of 2 or 3. Every business has done it. The government has to do it. And we should look at those. We should look at those programs. There are about 3% programs that OMB finds every year are failing. They should be zeroed out. 22% are found to be not able to be evaluated. They should be looked at. But we need that kind of approach.
All right, the next question is going to go to Senator Thompson as well as Ron Paul. Let's watch.
Hi, I'm Emily and I'm from Los Angeles. The Republican Party once stood for limited government, which meant reduced federal spending because we taxed less and we spent less. However, over the past decade, real discretionary federal spending has in fact increased 40%, more than half of which has been non-defense related. So my question is, what are the names of the top 3 federal programs you would reduce in size in order to decrease?
Senator Thompson.
Well, it's a target-rich environment. There's no question about it. What most of these gentlemen have said are absolutely correct. The difficulty is most of the programs that we talk about, most of the ones that get the headlines, would not begin to solve the problem. Mitt's right when he mentions entitlement. That's why I have laid out a program to not attack entitlements, but to save Social Security. Everybody talks about wanting to do something about it. Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid are the ones that we're really going to have to reform if we're going to make any headway in the spending.
So the top 3, you would say Social Security?
No, I didn't say that. There is the OMB has come out with a list of over 100 programs. I would take all 100 of them. The ones that are full of waste, fraud, and duplication. I filed a report in 2001 when I was chairman of the Governmental Affairs Committee and identified billions of dollars that we should be saving. But my point is that we're going to have to reform Social Security. We're going to have to reform Medicare. I've laid out a detailed plan that will give individual retirement accounts for people matched by the government and also re-index the way benefits are calculated initially when a person retires. And together, that program has been said by the experts already to say that have said that it would, after 75 years, make Social Security actuarially sound. I've got the only program out there that really addresses specifically one of the programs that's going to have to be reformed.
Congressman Paul, the question was 3 programs. Can you name 3?
Yes, and I would like to state that the statement earlier made that we all went to Washington to change Washington and Washington changed us. I don't think that applies to me. Washington did not change me. I would like to change Washington, and we could by cutting 3 programs such as the Department of Education. Ronald Reagan used to talk about that. Department of Energy, Department of Homeland Security is the biggest bureaucracy we ever had. And besides, what we can do is we can have a stronger national defense by changing our foreign policy. Our foreign policy is costing us $1 trillion, and we can spend most of that or a lot of that money home if we would bring our troops home.
Governor Huckabee, 30 seconds, 3 programs.
Anderson, the first thing that I would get rid of would be the Internal Revenue Service. And we'd have a complete getting rid of a $10 billion a year industry.